This video is about the top 5 most underrated UFC fighters of all time. And before I jump in the video, give me like 20 seconds to describe my criteria, because I think that's important. Number one, I have skill. Obviously, you have to prove that you're one of the most skilled guys, show it in the cage. Strength of schedule, the guys that they fought, who they beat, at least, the strength schedule of the guys that they beat. And the division in their era, if you're fighting like GOAT-level guys versus being a can crusher, you have to be in a good division in a good era. Now, starting off the list at number 5 is Gegard Mousasi. He is one of the most underrated guys of all time. He's fought at middleweight, light heavyweight, even heavyweight. He beat Mark Hunt at one point. And he's racking up victories across pretty much every major organization you can think of. He beat guys in Pride, Strikeforce, Dream, Bellator, and the UFC. But he left the UFC before a title shot. He was on a 5-5 win streak, top guys. Casual fans they kind of forget how good he really was. He had some slick groundwork, underrated wrestling, really good ground and pound, I gotta say. And he beat some legends, dude. He beat Vitor, he beat Hendo, Chris Weidman. As I said, he had a submission over Mark Hunt, Melvin Manhoef. I believe he fought Jacare Souza in one. He beat Rory McDonald in Bellator. He didn't rely on trash talk and drama, but he showed up and he dismantled people. He had over, I think, nearly 60 professional fights and 28-1 if you only count knockouts. I think he's a top-level middleweight that deserves to be on this list. And coming in at number 4, we have Nick Diaz. Now, look, the reason that I say Nick is one of the most underrated guys is because people think about his attitude, the smoking, the bravado, the, I don't care attitude. They know him because of his brother, because of his win. But I know him because of his super slick groundwork. He was doing Goga Platas, his pressure boxing, his Strikeforce reign, his volume striking, his cardio. He was like the Merab Dvalishvili of boxing. He's an incredible fighter. And he's beat some absolute warriors. His strength of schedule is really good. He knocked out Robbie Lawler when he was young. He fought killers. He fought GSP. He fought Anderson Silva. Strikeforce still had some of the best talent, especially in the lower weight classes. But Nick was special, and he deserved a lot more love for his actual fighting ability and his skill set rather than just what he did outside the cage. I know that casuals that know of Nick, they still know that he can fight, but they don't know his style, they don't know his Strikeforce reign, they don't know how great this guy truly was. I think there's an alternate reality where this guy's a UFC champion, you know what I mean? With defenses. We've seen him get rocked and come back and end up finishing the guy, beating the guy. He's just relentless pressure, great striking, and overall one of the most underrated fighters of all time, in my opinion. And Nick, he missed out on some time fighting because of suspensions. He got, I think, a couple suspensions for Reeds, and they were pretty heavy, too. But yeah, no, he's definitely up there as one of the most underrated fighters of all time. But I want to go ahead and move on to the number 3 guy on this list, and it's Corey Sandhagen. People know Sandhagen because of that explosive striking, but he's a super well-rounded guy. He has decent wrestling, good ground and pound, slick groundwork. The guy's just a fighter, and sadly, he's in a super competitive weight class. He's a fighter in a weight class that has some incredible fighters in there already. And he's kind of had like a Michael Bisping case, where he's gotten a lot of number 1 contender fights, and he lost them, or lost the fight that would have gotten him to a number 1 contender fight. And he's a guy that he has the skill set of a champion. You look at pure skills, he might be the best guy on this entire list. He is a really, really gifted fighter that happens to be in a Shark Tank of a division. I'm afraid that in history he's going to be one of these guys that are almost forgotten. He was a constant top contender, but he just never made it. And honestly, made it to the top of the list. But it makes sense that he didn't. Look at the guys in his division. Sugar Sean O'Malley. Then you have Merab Dvalishvili, which is super insane cardio, pressure wrestling. Sean obviously has some of the best striking in all of UFC. And then on top of those two, you got Lamar Nurmagomedov, who's one of the most well-rounded guys in the division. He's just in a really tough division, but I think we'll see that he gets even more underrated, and right now he's already on the list. My number 2 is Johnny Hendricks. This guy was a D1 state champ wrestler, NCAA. He showed that wrestling in the UFC. Look at his record, first off. He went on some unbelievable streaks. He had that war with GSP that I and many others believe that he won. He had a dynamite left hand, I gotta say that much. I think that Johnny Hendricks is underrated because of his career decline. People, I mean, are pretty confident he was on steroids. You saw what happened to him after USADA came in, and he did not have the best end to his career. But in his prime, this man was a monster. He was a problem for anybody at the division. This guy, like I said, has an arguable win over GSP. He has wins over Condit, Robbie Lawler. I believe in possibly both fights. I'd have to rewatch it. Couldn't say off the top of my head, but seriously, if you have not watched that fight with GSP, go watch it. I'm really curious what other people think of this fight, because I really do think that Johnny was robbed. I think it was a close fight. I don't think it was, like, oh, Johnny destroyed him. No, but it was a close fight that I think Johnny was definitely able to win. And Johnny was an exciting fighter. I mean, he was in some really good fights. Fought high-level guys as Matt Brown, for example. That was a really good fight. I don't know. I think this guy he just doesn't get the respect he deserves, because what you're saying right here, the decline after USADA came in, he got knocked out a bunch. He had one win, I believe, in there. I can't remember who it was over at. But yeah, no, he doesn't get the respect he deserves at all because of what happened to him later in his career. Remember this guy for what he was, for that left hand of dynamite, for the classic fights he was in. And if you just pick out a weight class and an era, there's going to be few that are harder to compete in than this one. Which also leads me to my number one on the list from the same time period, Carlos Condit. Now, once again, he didn't become champion, but that's because the champion was GSP. You know what I mean? One of the greatest of all time. It's not like you're a bad fighter for not becoming a champion when GSP was the champion, you know what I mean? And this guy was super, super crafty on the feet. One of the craftiest strikers of all time. Incredible kickboxer, good ground and pound, slick ground work. And he was just a natural-born killer. I mean, his nickname rang true. He was a natural finisher. He finished most of his fights. He didn't even hit that hard. He was a volume striker, but he was explosive. He kind of had like a Nick Diaz where his volume and he didn't put all of his power into stuff, but he could bite down and he could throw hands. And not only did he beat super high-level guys and just fight super high-level guys, I believe he beat Robbie. If you watch back that fight, I 100% think he beat Robbie, more than I think Hendricks beat GSP. And, yeah, I mean, he's one of my favorite guys just because of how exciting he is to watch and his style, that kind of unorthodox, like Dom Cruz type stance. But you talk pure skill, strength of schedule, the weight class that he was in, everything combined, I think he's the most underrated fighter of all time. He was the closest guy to finishing GSP. If that Matt Serra fight never happened, he probably would have knocked out GSP. GSP would have made the same mistake, which, of course, he's one of the greatest fighters of all time. He's not making the same mistake twice. And he was able to overcome it. He was able to win the fight. But still, who does that to GSP? Who does what Carlos Condit did to so many guys? I feel like people have been sleeping on Carlos Condit for a very, very long time. I mean, like I said, the guy was unorthodox. He was pure violence personified. He was a guy that liked to go in there and fight. He genuinely enjoyed it. And not to mention, he was good at it. I mean, he was just a skilled fighter that deserved more fan love than he actually received. I know I keep talking about the eras and the weight class that he was in, but this guy fought a murderer's row. I mean, he fought the who's who of his division, and he beat most of them, and I really respect that, and I think that he could have been one of the best welterweights if he wasn't, I mean, in the same weight class as GSP as some of these other guys. But Carlos Condit, I think, is the most underrated UFC fighter of all time, and I promise I'm going to start editing and filming more videos. I know that it's been a while since I've posted. Been kind of a tough time period in my life, some stuff been going on, but I hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and God bless.